Students, last lecture we all have learned about the basics of the circulatory system, right? We all have seen that the circulatory system is responsible for the transport. Now, what things are circulated in the body? These all things are the part of circulatory system. So basically, we all have learned there are two type of circulatory system: open and closed in the last lecture. In the open circulatory system, we all have seen there is everything, or you can say all the fluids are mixed up into the body cavity, and the body cavity is also having the blood. So everything is present in a single coelom, and the coelom was comprising of lymph, coelom was comprising of blood. So that's why the coelom was called as the hemocoel, right? And the blood, their blood and lymphatic system, both things are mixed. That's why their blood is also called as the hemolymph. So, but there are limitations that the vessels are not there. So, if the heart will pump and means pump into the close proximity, like pipeline structure, so that can efficiently transport the blood to the all part if the size of organism is little bit higher, right? But if organism is small in size, so it is okay, na? The open type of circulatory system can be worked. So we all have seen that because of the limitation, or you can say the slow speed of the circulation, open circulatory system was only and only found into the small animals, or you can say the small invertebrates. But the in invertebrates also, the organism like cephalopods, then earthworm, those who raise their body size. So in that also we all have found that little bit modification, uh, type, this circulatory system is modified, and the term modified comes with the evolution, means in the course of evolution, as the organism evolve, so their body parts, whatever body parts they have, they become little bit more complex. Because of the complexity of their body, the demand of the animal was more and more. So for that reason, the closed circulatory system evolved. And in the closed circulatory system, we have learned that the lymphatic system and cardiovascular system, both are separated. The cardiovascular system have their own vessel system, their cardiovascular. Cardiac means heart, vascular means the blood vessels. So cardiovascular system is having the closed pipeline or vessel system for their circulation. And lymphatic system is not part of now. So lymphatic system we'll learn in detail later on. So lymphatic system is having the lymphatic ducts which carries the lymph. So blood and lymph, both the things are separated. So for that reason, now circulation evolved in two types: single circulation and double circulation. So students, the point to be remember here is that the is circulation is of two types. The first type is open circulatory system and the closed circulatory system. And the closed circulatory system has two mechanisms. Actually, this is, I cannot say it's a type of closed circulatory system. These are the mechanisms how the blood is circulating. So these are the single circulation and double circulation. So when we talk about the single and double circulation, now see, the point to be remember, most of the time the vertebrates will have this type of circulatory system. So in the case of the vertebrate, you will find that the propelling means, you can say, the pumping, which is giving the pressure So that organ is nothing but the heart. So this propelling organ is heart. The heart will divide in the various chambers. So see students, the heart will have the receiving chamber as well as distributing chamber. That means the heart will receive the blood. Which blood heart will receive now? The heart will receive the deoxygenated blood. From where? From the various body tissue. And the heart will pass on this deoxygenated blood to the source of the oxygen. Now, what is the source of oxygen? We have learned in detail that is the respiratory organ. That also we have learned in detail that the various animals have the various type of the respiratory organ. It could be the gills, it could be the ostia, it could be the book lung, it could be the anything. It could be the tenidium also. We have seen tenidium in the case of sepia, yes. So we all have learned the various organs, and not only this, we also have learned about the accessory respiratory organs. So what is happening? That heart is receiving. Understand the circuit. It is very important. Heart is receiving the blood. The receiving chambers are called as, now see this receiving chamber. You can see various animal heart will be divided into the chamber. The open circulatory system, we all have seen that the heart was very simple. It was having ostia. So these receiving chambers are the auricles, and then thereafter the blood will go to the surface. Now which surface the blood will go? So it will go to the respiratory surface where this deoxygenated blood will get oxygenated, and from there it will be returned to the body. So on the basis of that, there are two type of circuit. You can see in my diagram. Let us understand the first case. Now here, for understanding, in this diagram the red color circuit is shown and blue color circuit is shown. So this red color is the oxygenated and this is the deoxygenated. Now try to understand what is happening. The deoxygenated blood. Now see, this is the tissue bed where the gaseous exchange occur. Okay, the oxygenated blood has come and this oxygenated blood has exchanged the oxygen molecule. Now see here, the partial pressure of oxygen was higher, so here the exchange was not possible. So when they come into the tissue bed, so in the blood capillaries, what is happening, that the partial pressure of oxygen is reduced. So now this blood, which is having the now hemoglobin, or you can say any other, the animals can have other respiratory pigments too. It could be hemoerythrin, it could be hemocyanin. So there are various respiratory pigments. So whatever respiratory pigment the animal have, it could be properly well designed, the RBC, red blood cells, where the respiratory pigments are enclosed in a this cell-like structure. So it could be anything. So now this blood, now blood will have the respiratory pigment in various forms. Just now I told, blood has brought the oxygen molecule. This oxygen molecule will be given to all these tissues where the level of oxygen, or you can say the partial pressure of oxygen is low. So at the lower partial pressure, we have learned that this respiratory pigment split and they give out oxygen, and they carry what? They carry the carbon dioxide. Now see, from the same vessels, now vessel is closed, right? Closed structure. So from the same vessels, this blood will return. Now for your understanding, the blood is marked as blue. It does not happen actually. The deoxygenated blood in some case, I'm sorry, in some case, example is sepia, it really changes its color. So, not in all animals. So, what will happen? These deoxygenated blood will be collected together into the same vessel. Now, for understanding, only one circuit is made. There are many means branch of the vessels. Last lecture, I told you that the it goes blood vessel, the main aorta will be there, then from there arteries will form, arteries say arterioles will form the capillaries, then from the capillaries to capillaries means the artery and the vein capillary. So all this capillary will form the capillary bed, and then from that it will go to the venules, then veins, then it will go to the vena cava, then from there it will go to the heart. Okay, so now here it is a very slow process, so it requires some pumping or the propelling organ. So this pumping or this push is given by the heart. So this heart will give the blood to the, now here I have for understanding mentioned as the gill capillaries. It will go to the respiratory surface, and now again respiratory surface will have the higher partial pressure of the oxygen. So what will happen? Now here the carbon dioxide partial pressure is low. So whatever carbon dioxide is being brought by this blood will be returned to the respiratory organ, and whatever oxygen is being collected by that respiratory organ will be given to the blood. So now see, what thing we need, this is about the circulation. What thing we need to remember is, in the single circulation, the blood is going from the tissue, or you can say the body part, to the heart, from heart to the respiratory organ, from respiratory organ it is going to the body. It is not and not returning back to the heart. Means here heart is not there. Here slowly the blood will propel. So in some case the extra hearts are supplemented with the animals. Example is the sepia. You will find that the sepia is having the three hearts. Okay, bronchial heart. This bronchial heart is giving the blood to the gills, and or you can say the tenadium, and from the tenadium there is main systemic heart that is supplying. Why it is happening? Because the body complexity is more. I gave you an example, sapia is an exception invertebrate which is having the closed circulatory system. So they have the single circuit. So here is also one heart, here two hearts are there in the case of sapia, and here also one heart is there. So when you will I have made complete video on the circulation of sepia and I shared yesterday, and also I added the link into the description box of yesterday lecture. So you might have observed that the animal was supplemented with the three hearts. So this two heart is bringing the blood to the tenadium, and now from here also the blood is going. Why? Because the animal requires more energy, so fast circulation is required. So the animal, their problem is, means the requirement or the pushing problem is solved by increasing the number of hearts. So it is not necessary that the animal will have only one heart. Animal may have more than one heart, as we have seen in the case of sepia, it is having the three hearts. So, what is happening in single circulation? What is the circuit we need to remember? That from the body tissue, the blood is going to heart. From heart, it is going to the respiratory organ, and from the respiratory organ, the blood is given to the body. I repeat, the deoxygenated blood which is collected from the body part is given to the heart. So heart is only receiving the deoxygenated blood. This deoxygenated blood is taken to the respiratory organ for the purpose of the oxygenation, and the blood gets oxygenated into the respiratory organ, and from the respiratory organ this oxygenated blood directly supplied to the body part. The point to be remembered here that the blood is not returning back to the heart. Okay, students, we should remember the circulation is only single round. Okay, means blood is not coming again and again to the heart back. So that's why it is called as the single circulation. When we talk about the double circulation, in the case of the double circulation, the heart is receiving the 2 times of this blood, 2 rounds, means it is receiving the deoxygen. Now here oxygenated blood was not at all related to the heart, right? Here the oxygenated blood will also come, understood? So now what is happening here? The body, same, we will start from the circulation which is occurring in the exchange of gases into the tissue bed is called as the systemic circulation, and in the lungs exchange of gases is called as the pulmonary circulation. Okay, so systemic circulation, again we'll begin with the systemic circulation only. In the system, this is systemic circulation, the oxygenated blood has come. Okay, it is going to the lower partial pressure of the oxygen. Now here the exchange of gases has occurred. Now blood has taken up whatever carbon dioxide is present into the tissue surfaces, and this carbon dioxide is given to the heart. Okay, now the heart will be 4 chambered. In the case of the single circulation, heart will have only 2 chambers. One is receiving and one is returning. So, or you can say the chamber which is giving or distributing to the gills. Now here the heart has received the deoxygenated blood. Now heart half part is prevented, or you can say will have the kind of wall. Now this wall, from the this part the heart will and pump to the lungs. What heart will pump? The blood. The blood will be pumped to the lungs, and in the lungs again the pulmonary circulation round will start. Okay, 2 times circulation is happening here. So in the pulmonary circulation, we have learned before also, pulmonary term is always used for the lungs. Okay, pulmonary respiration you might have heard many times in the previous part of the unit. So here pulmonary circulation will occur, and what will happen in the pulmonary circulation? Due to the higher partial pressure of the oxygen, the whatever respiratory pigment is present, they will split and they will return the oxygen, they will return the carbon dioxide to the pulmonary surface, and in return they will take the oxygen, and the blood will become the oxygenated, and this oxygenated blood now will not go to the systemic circulation. It will return to the heart again, and from the heart it will enter into the systemic circulation. So 2 rounds, that means the heart is getting the deoxygenated as well as oxygenated, same heart. And for avoiding the mixing, the heart is designed or heart is developed the four chamber. So this is about the single and double circulation. Let us understand in detail with the example. Single circulation, the fish. So fish has the single auricle and the single ventricle. We have seen, I told you, only two chamber heart. So the heart will receive blood only once in the auricle. From where it will receive? It will receive from the systemic circulation, that means from the body tissue. Then from there it will go to the ventricle. Okay, auricle has received the complete, auricle is always a receiving chamber, and from full body the auricle has received the blood, and from the auricle the blood will go to the ventricle. Now this ventricle is actually the pushing pump. This ventricle will push the deoxygenated blood to the gills. Now gills oxygenation will occur. Now this oxygenated blood will circulate to all over the body. Now from the gills only it will go to the all body part. The point to be remember, the gills to all body part, the main blood vessel is called as afferent blood vessel. So from the gills, the blood will enter into the afferent blood vessel. Then it will go to the arteries, and deoxygenated blood which will connected by the veins from all over body, and it brought back and pour inside the heart in the single circulation, and there is only single direction, means only one round of circulation. The blood is entering only and only one time into the heart. So that means from ventricle to the heart, and from that to the gills to the body, means nowhere the blood is returning back, as we have seen in the case of the double circulation. So that's why this is called as the single circulation. Since the blood from the gills will go for the general circulation without bringing back to the heart, directly gills itself will start distributing. The flow of blood in the general circulation will be very slow. So now the animal which have the low metabolic rate, they can compensate direct exchange through the diffusion, right? They can directly do this. But the animals whose body demand is higher, as I gave you example of cephalopod also, that they are predator, so they cannot compensate this thing. So they have the double, means they should have the extra hearts. Okay, some more pumping, some pushing is required. Then double circulation. In the course of evolution we all have learned that amphibian, reptile, bird and mammal, they will develop the two auricle, but in the case of birds and mammals only four chamber heart is there. Okay, in the case of amphibian and reptile you will find that only three chambers are there. They have the two auricles. We all are going to learn the anatomy and physiology of each class in the comparative study of the circulatory organ, as we have built the respiratory system in detail. But for now you understand that as the evolution occurred, so with the evolution what happened, that the heart design is also evolved. It becomes more and more modified. So what is happening here, two auricles will be there. Okay, so what auricle I told you is the receiving chamber. So one auricle is designed for the receiving blood from the systemic circulation, and another auricle is provided the pulmonary respiration, means there is a second round. So what will happen, the left auricle will collect the oxygenated blood from the lungs, and then thereafter it is going to push through the ventricle. Now I told you the main pushing pump is situated into the ventricle region of the heart. So it is pushes through the ventricle for the arterial circulation to the body, which is referred as the systemic loop, or you can say the systemic circulation. Then the right auricle will receive the deoxygenated blood from the veins, and it is pushed to the lung. The respiratory organ for oxygenation through the ventricle is referred as the pulmonary lobe or the pulmonary circulation, which is a short course, because you will find that the pathway, or you can say the area is small. Heart is in the close proximity of the lung, so there is only a short loop. So from the heart, the blood will go to the lungs. Lungs, it will get oxygenated, and the oxygenated blood will return back to the left auricle, and from the left auricle it will go to the ventricle, and from the ventricle it will enter into the long course loop, that is the systemic circulation. So in the case of amphibian and reptile, exception is crocodile, because crocodile, you need to remember, having the 4-chamber heart. The heart is 3-chambered with 2 auricle and single ventricle. So it is supplying the mixed type of blood. Little bit mixation is occurring. Thus, though due to the presence of 2 auricle, the blood receives twice by the heart through systemic circulation and pulmonary circulation. It, however, intersects in the common ventricle. In the case of the amphibian and reptiles, distribution is done by the single ventricle to the both loops. Hence, it is called as imperfect double circulation. Understood why imperfect double circulation? Because pushing is occurring in the case of the same ventricle is pushing the deoxygenated blood to the lungs, and same ventricle. So what is happening, little bit mixing is occurring. So for that particular reason, it is called as imperfect double circulation. Now in the higher animals like birds and mammals, and only exception case is the crocodile, the heart is 4-chamber with 2 receiving auricle and 2 distributing ventricle. Now what is going to be happen? Complete compartments are there. So this chamber will not let the blood mixing. Okay, so that's why it is a perfect double circulation. So deoxygenated blood will be collected by the veins that will brought to, now see, understand and remember the pathway. What is happening here? Deoxygenated blood will come to the vein. Okay, and from the vein means from the capillary, it is going to come to the veins, and from the veins it will go to the right auricle, and from the right auricle it will enter to the right ventricle. Okay, now I will not use the term it will enter to the ventricle. It is very specific. Deoxygenated blood which is brought from the systemic loop or systemic circulation is entering into the right auricle, and from the right auricle it will enter into the right ventricle, and now this right ventricle will push it to the lung through the pulmonary artery for the oxygenation. So and now the blood is entered into the pulmonary circulation or pulmonary loop. Now in the pulmonary loop it is going to get oxygenated. Now this oxygenated blood will come to the left auricle from the lungs through the pulmonary veins, and thereafter it is going to pass to the left ventricle. Now left ventricle, see, I told you before also, this systemic loop is the large course, or the large means to the larger area they have to pass on. So for that reason, the left ventricle is little bit rough and tough and will give them bigger push. Understood? Then thereafter, this left ventricle will push with this blood with a force through the aorta for systemic circulation without any mixing. Understood? So for that reason, it is called as the perfect double circulation. Now, what players are helping? So the means what is making this circulation so perfect is the circulating fluid. So in detail, what are circulating fluid, we all are going to discuss into the next lecture. For this note for today, we will stop. If you have any doubt, definitely you all can ask me.